5 minutes of this Q2 session underway, and you feel like it's Aprilia's to lose.
Can anybody gate crash the Aprilia party here then in Buriram? Marco Bezzecchi then winding up through the gearbox. What's going through the mind right now? Massimo Rivola, Aprilia Racing CEO. He said, didn't he, at the back end of last season, we feel finally that we have a motorcycle in the current spec RSGP that is capable. We've closed the gap on Ducati, we've chased them down, we've hunted them for the last 2 or 3 years. Aprilia at the moment is the best motorcycle on the Grand Prix grid, no question about that. Can anybody then at the top of this top three?
Martin, once again, he's being clever here on this outlet. He wants the rear tyre of his teammate Marco Bezzecchi. He just going to the inside of Joan Mir into turn 6 because he doesn't want anyone between him and his teammate. Bez has a look behind him and will see his teammate on his own up the front, with Ayagura now up into 6th place. So we now have all 4 Aprilias on the front 2 rows of the grid. He gets ahead of the Marquez brothers. Marc Marquez now starts his lap in 8th place.
Pecco Bagnaia just going, where do I sign that 4-year Aprilia contract, which he supposedly got on the table for 2027 and beyond? Because at the moment, of course, we've said before, do not write off Marc Marquez. You write off the 7-time MotoGP World Champion at your peril. He always tends to find something right out of the top drawer. And at the moment, certainly through the first sector, Marquez threatening that front row. Can he split any of the Aprilias? How's Marc getting on in that second split? He's getting on absolutely superbly. Well, this would be awesome. This would be so Marc Marquez, wouldn't it, if he was to topple Marco Bezzecchi. He's got about a 10th in his pocket here, deep into sector 3.
Alex Marquez has gone up into 5th place, so he's now the leading Ducati in the session. Watch Ralph Fernandez then, who's coming towards the end of his lap. It could be an Aprilia 1, 2, 3, with Ralph Fernandez potentially splitting the factory boys. Raul across the line then, he now moves up into 2nd place.
But it's all eyes on the reigning world champion. He's been here so many times in his Grand Prix career, 74 times already. He has claimed a MotoGP pole position. This will be something special, though, to try and break Aprilia's weekend domination. Over the line, Marc goes into 2nd. It was super tight. How close was that? A 128.687 from the 33-year-old Spaniard. Just 300ths of a second away from Marco Bezzecchi, but the Ducati challenge is coming.
Yeah, the counter-attack is coming from Fabio Di Gianantonio too. He's now gone 4th. He's into the 28s now, so it's now Aprilia, Ducati, Aprilia inside your top 5 as Marc Marquez now runs on into turn 3, so he won't be challenging Bez on this lap.
Yeah, Ayagura also got sucked into the heavy braking zone into 3. Further down after his crash late on in Q1 at turn 3, Frankie Morbidelli has finally just registered a lap time, a 129.553 from Frankie. That sees him down in 12th place, as you can see from the timing tower. Just over 2 minutes remaining. Do we have any late fireworks to be delivered here in this opening Q2 session of the campaign? Alex Marquez, of course, who started his breakout 2025 from the front row of the grid in 2nd place, hasn't made the new GP26 his own, has he, at the moment, Alex? He's struggling, he said, for traction on gas, which he said last year was his real big weapon, his real strong point on what was then, of course, the GP24. Bezzecchi not done, just trying to make sure, consolidate that 10th MotoGP pole position, leaving nothing to chance here. Maybe he doesn't really need to be taking this much risk, but he won't know that. Still leading with a 128.652, still firmly on course for 3 successive poles.
The difference was all made in the final sector, wasn't it? Oh, careful, Pedro, make sure he's there all the way there of Marco Bezzecchi. Might have been a little bit distracted there on his way into 9. Clearly not, because he's found a 10th of a second. Martin also improving, looking to try and get himself back onto the front row of the grid.
Second half of last season, I think we all got the impression that there was sort of a theme building. It was Marc Marquez versus Marco Bezzecchi in so many Grand Prix. Oh, Bezzecchi's gone down. Well, that's his 2nd crash of the spring Saturday, trail braking into turn 12. So he has been lightning quick. There's been nobody really to get close to Marco Bezzecchi, but there's been 2 tumbles, and that one has rattled him. That was a heavy
it?
old impact, that was.
That's similar to the crash that Marquez had at the test here last weekend, needing a bit of help to get under his feet. I think just collecting the air in his lungs once again there, because it was a heavy, heavy fall for Marco Bezzecchi. It's not going to cost him pole position, but another potential blow to the Marco Bezzecchi confidence.
What a big old blow as well to his right elbow and his right shoulder as he slammed into the tarmac there. Well, he's going to have to walk to Parc Ferme. Yeah, that's shaking him up a little bit, that one. It was almost like the way he went down, slammed onto the ground. It was like a crash in the wet, wasn't it?
Oh, this is going to cost Iagura dearly. The yellows have just cleared, so this might just be in time for Iagura to get himself onto the front of the grid and ahead of his teammate Raul Fernandez. Those yellows cleared just as Agura was coming through turn number 11. This is turn 12, the final corner. Is Iagura about to start from the front row of the grid in MotoGP for the first time? The answer is no. He lost half a second.
Well, that is why we have missed MotoGP so much. Over 100 days since our last Grand Prix action at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia, and it has been well worth the wait. What a Q2 session that was. Pedro Acosta, can he get himself anywhere back near that front row of the grid? No, over the line he's going to be 6 on the grid. So Marco Bezzecchi is going to start our opening Grand Prix of the campaign from pole position. For the first time ever, Aprilia have claimed 3 successive poles. First time that's happened in Marco Bezzecchi's career as well. But it has not been easy. A crash this morning in FP2 at turn 3, followed up by this real nasty front end washout. You can see him there, one finger on the front brake, trail braking into this real tight first gear, turn 12, right leg dangling. Just look how hard he is going to slam into the tarmac very, very shortly. You'll just see there the front was just tucking a little bit, and there it fully goes, and bang! Look, you can see the airbag getting activated as he hit the ground. That super slow motion replay doesn't really do justice to the sort of severity of the impact that Bez had there. He was a little bit slow to walk away from the scene of the crime, wasn't he? Let's hope he's just a few bumps, scrapes and bruises. But he is lightning fast, but there's been a couple of warnings. We said, didn't we, when he was going through turns 5 and 6, did he really need to be pushing and taking that much risk?
Well, Marc Marquez will be watching that and thinking, if I can put some pressure on Marco Bezzecchi, he is fallible. He's proved it twice already this morning with a crash in pre-practice 2 and a crash in qualifying. Clearly the reference, rider and machine this weekend, Marco Bezzecchi and factory Aprilia, because they have 2 on the front row of the grid, Bezzecchi and Raul Fernandez. But I think Marc Marquez will have taken a little bit of encouragement from what we've seen this morning.
Bez was bang on the money, wasn't he? You just can't write off Marc. When it really, really comes to showtime, he's always there delivering.